Hello there, YouTube. So, I'm Travis, and I'm going to try to help you figure out how to get 3D models made by you into Gary's Mod. Or not even made by you, just that you have models sitting around somewhere. So, if you're like me, you probably watched a bunch of the other videos on YouTube and ran into walls trying to figure out how to get it to go because some of them are super outdated and the tools they use no longer work and all sorts of stuff. So, uh, this one of the tools that we're going to use is Wallworm Tools, and it's made by Shawn Olson. It's fantastic. It's a really awesome script for 3ds Max. So I'm going to be doing this in 3ds Max 2015. This script will work for 2012 to 2015 at least. If you're on 2012, make sure you have the latest service packs. That way everything will work correctly. For 2015, do not get Service Pack 3. I'm just going to throw that out there. Service Pack 3 is a piece of garbage, and Autodesk should be ashamed of themselves for releasing it. It breaks a lot of stuff. I don't know if it'll break anything for this, but I know it breaks a lot of things for like FBX exporting and all sorts of other stuff, so don't get it. So with that, on to the exporting. Well, onto the how to do this. So before we get into the tools that we're going to need, we're going to just check our model and do some really quick prep work. So I'm not going to go over how to model or how to texture. There's lots of other YouTube videos on how to do that. There's lots of other places on the internet you can figure out how to do that too. So first off, Gary's Mod does not like capitals. So as you can see here, I have capitals in here. We're just going to change that to get rid of it. So just lowercase treasure chest. And similarly, it actually hates, like, you could get away with capitals in your model name, but you cannot get away with capitals in your texture names. Gary's Mod will refuse, like the GM publisher and stuff, will refuse to upload it if you've got capitals in it. So make sure that you rename it to whatever, but with no capitals. I believe you can do it with underscores, so if you want to do like treasure chest underscore diff or whatever for your diffuse texture and specular texture, all that. I haven't tested it myself, so I'm not 100% sure. Take it with a grain of salt. Maybe test it. Let me know in the comments. Wallworm will export TGAs and I believe JPEGs. I don't think it does PNGs, but I could be wrong. In the new version it might. I know in a previous version it did not. So what we're going to do is it'll export a diffuse color, a specular level, and a bump map. It will not do gloss for some reason. I don't understand why, but it is what it is. I can live without a gloss. So, again, make sure you don't have any capitals in there, and you should be good to go. Make sure that you give your material a name. So in this case, I gave it chest text. That's what your VMT is actually. Yeah, VMT or VTF, one of the two. Your main one that tells your model what is what. That's gonna get this name. So if you want to, you can call it treasure chest or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't really matter. And on to the tools. So for the tools part, we're gonna grab the Wallworm model tools from dev.wallworm.com. I'm going to put this link in the description so you can just click it and you don't have to type it out, because I know we all want to be lazy because we're on the internet. So you're going to download it. I've already downloaded it, so I'm not going to do it again just because, yeah, I don't feel like it. After you download it, you're going to get a zip file, or I think it's a zip file, and you're going to unzip it to somewhere, and you're going to get this stuff inside the folder. You're going to get a readme, a wallworm.com. Make sure you check out the readme. It's got some good places to be able to contact Shawn. He's really good at answering questions if you have them. It's also got the installation instructions for those of you that have never installed a Mac script before. So to get this thing all installed, what we're going to do is we're going to just open it like this so you have your thing on top. And we're going to go into wallworm.com. Grab the install.ms and just drag and drop it into our viewport. It's going to give us the end user license agreement. I suggest that you read it to make sure that you can use it. As far as I'm aware, it is completely free. You can use it for commercial stuff, and there is also a pro version as well that you can get. It's got some big updates. It's faster apparently, and there's a whole bunch of new stuff in it. It just came out at the beginning of the month, I believe, so it's pretty brand new. But anyways, I recommend that you read it to make sure that everything applies to you. I'm going to agree to it. I am going to click no because I don't want to install on a folder on my desktop. My desktops are already cluttered enough. For me, it's going to say it's updated. For you, it might say this, or it will probably say that it's installed successfully. I'm not sure which. I had a previous version, so it's going to come up with like this for me. Now you're going to see the path section. This is probably one of the areas that everybody seems to run into a problem with. For me to make this work, I had to have Counter-Strike Source installed. If you're playing Garry's Mod and you don't have Source installed, you probably live in the land of pink and black textures. So I recommend getting Source anyways. With that, the ways that I figured out how to get this to work correctly is actually just using the Counter-Strike Source preset. If you don't have that preset, I'll quickly go over how you set it up as well. If you do, just click it, and it should set everything up for you anyways, which is fantastic and great. So, we're going to go to... You have to make sure that everything is set up correctly. So, for us, we want to make sure that all of these sources go to the Counter-Strike source minimum. So you're going to go to your Steam folder, your Steam apps folder, your common folder. So yeah, Steam apps, common, Counter-Strike source. Since the first one is model source, you're going to go to source SDK content, C-Strike, and model source. And just click that and it'll fill in your path here. And then the same thing for material source, except you're going to do it with the material source folder instead of the model source folder. And then the same thing one more time for the map source and map source folder instead of the material or model source folder. The bin directory is super important. Make sure you have this correct. If not, it's not going to work for you. You're not going to get anything into Garry's Mod without this, so make sure it is correct. The bin folder, again, just Steam Apps, Common, Counter-Strike, bin. That's all you got to do. Just click it there, and you're done. Why does it need the bin folder? Because Source, Valve made a lot of tools for Source compiling and all that kind of stuff, and they're in that folder. Wallworm Tools needs it to be able to compile your model and make it so you can actually put it in the game. So make sure you put that in the correct area, or the correct path. Game info, yeah, you can see, goes to Counter-Strike source / C-Strike. And then your FGD, if you don't have the cstrike.fgd, hit get FGD and go to your bin folder in Counter-Strike source and select your C-Strike. And that's it. I use the Wallworm SMD exporter because I've never had a problem with it. I know a lot of people used to use the Wonder Boys and the Cannon Fodders, but those previously, as far as I know, they only worked for 2012. Wallworm definitely works for 2015, so that's what I do. Compile on export and overwrite existing QC because you don't want to have to rewrite your QC every time you change something. You just want to be able to go with it. I'm actually just going to remove this because I don't need those two paths. That was from the first time I tried to record this video. It's like the 5th time now because my OBS keeps on crashing. It's great. So after all this is in there, you're ready to start. So with those settings set up, what we're going to do now is just quickly set up a hotbar that you can drag and drop different Wallworm tools out onto. Because if you end up using this more and more, you probably don't want to have to keep going through the Wallworm menu every time. So you're going to go to Customize User Interface, Toolbars, and then in the categories, scroll all the way to the bottom and find wallworm.com. In the thing below that, you're going to go all the way to the bottom again and find Wallworm Model Tools, because that's the one that we're going to be using. Hit New, name it like WW for Wallworm, and drag and drop that Wallworm Model Tools out onto it. Then you can drag and drop it wherever you want. You can keep it as a floater if you want to, or dock it up here. And this will make it so you can just click the button instead of having to go through the tools or through the menu bar every time. It's just a little bit faster, a little bit nicer. I've already got that, so I'm just going to get rid of that one. So to avoid this being a super long video, we're going to cut it here, and the next one will cover the actual exporting and then getting it into Garry's Mod. So catch the next video. I'll put the link in the description, probably make this a playlist as well.